Thank you so much, Ed. I was going to say, please don't hold that against me. I'm the good kind. I'm the attorney that everybody wants on their speed dial.
That's really cool. So I see your wall. Are all those pictures of you?
They are, Ed. Yes. And the other thing that you might discover about me today is that I'm quite shy. Or should I say the opposite? Yes, that is me, Ed. I've been honored by prestigious publications, and again, it's just for the work that we do and the innovation approach that we take to legal, because everybody knows how sexy legal is, right, Ed?
So you focus in on business law, and
Correct.
that means people like me who are entrepreneur rather than a Fortune 500, but you probably can help them too. So tell us about your background. You're from UK?
I am, Ed. Yes, born and raised there. Sometimes when
Mhm.
people say to me, "Oh, that's a great accent," I usually say, I just put it on just for you. But that is not true. I was born and raised in England. I have been here in California now for over 25 years, and this is home for me. This is where I'm able to live my American dream, Ed. This is where I've became successful, and this is the kicker now. This is where this foreigner, I have a dual citizenship. I teach Americans that are born and raised in America how to live their American dream. Fancy that.
Ah, a guideline. That's really a track to run on. So we're going to be talking about some of the ins and outs and corners of how law fits into running a business, a small business, I guess, a relatively small business. Um, so tell us about your journey here to California. Did you come directly from UK to San Diego?
So I finished high school in England at the age of 15. So we start, I think, 2 years earlier than Americans do. So we start around age 3. I was done with high school at the age of 15. My parents said, "Well, why don't you go out to California and go say hello to your brother and sister?" And they were living up in the Bay Area at the time. And, here I am, a young teenager, just finished high school, living the dream, came out here and I absolutely fell in love with California. Absolutely fell in love with it.
Yes.
So the next thing you do, Ed, as anyone would, I applied for student visas and what have you. And I got into a school. So I have completed my education here in the States. I also have a law degree from back home in London. So that I've been back and forth, but for the duration of the time, America, California, specifically Southern California, is home for me. This is where eventually, when I had passed the bar and I was looking for my very first attorney position, it was Baker and McKenzie. You might have heard of them. They were the
Yeah.
largest international law firm in the world at the time, and I was so privileged and honored to work with them. And I really got my legal education from some of these brilliant minds, Ed, not just domestically, but internationally as well. And Baker and McKenzie, they were in San Diego. Thank God for that, because I was not planning on staying in LA. I was either going to go back up north to the Bay Area, or I was going to find something else. But San Diego it was, and here I am.
Yes, that's okay. That's great. So I relocated from Boston in 1980 to LA and brought the idea of the magazine California Bound because I was California bound and I knew
Yes.
nothing about the area. And I was fortunate to have guts. and, and I walked in uh, on a cold call to the LA Chamber of Commerce and the LA Economic Development Corp. And I showed them a mock-up of what I wanted to do and said, I want you to buy these books once I finish it. I don't need any money up front. I just want you to say, well, this sounds like a good idea. And if I like it when it's finally finished, rather than just talking, when it's finally printed, then we'll buy copies. So good luck. And if you screw up, don't come back.
Right, right.
Okay.
There you go. That's your education.
And so it worked. I was also fortunate, just to give you a preview, uh, in Boston, I had made friends with some real estate brokers who were franchise owners of this group called Century 21 Real Estate. They're all over the map, but some of them were more into this corporate relocation idea than others who were just localized neighborhood brokers. So I focused in on the relocation directors who were realtor or realtor owners, and we hit it off. And they bought ads and they introduced me to the LA headquarters people. And it was an immediate connection, and they became my number one account and opened the door for me to be welcomed.
Mhm.
And so I went from door to door to broker to broker, and many of them bought ads. And then I delivered the book, glossy, 4 color, 8.5 by 11, about 100 pages, and with maps and information about communities and commute times and businesses and lots of pretty pictures, because it was a recruitment device,
Mhm.
actually, PR. And the chamber says, okay, we'll take 100,000 copies over the next couple of years. What's your price? So I said $10. They said, done.
Perfect. Perfect.
No venture capital, no partners. I wish I knew you then, because it wasn't all roses, valleys as well as peaks. But anyway, here I am, still doing it.
Perfect. See, now you're one of those entrepreneurs, Ed. One, you knew what you wanted to do, right? You
It
had the
was clear,
passion. You had the
right?
passion behind it. And you never let anybody tell you otherwise. There's so many naysayers in this world, so many, and half of them you don't even know who they are, but yet they're going to step up and tell you you cannot do something because it's already done, or because. You're one of those entrepreneurs that we absolutely love and support. Um, my entire law firm is surrounded around supporting and helping entrepreneurs become as successful as they can. So when entrepreneurs find adversity, the first thing they do is, I can't do this. There's a hurdle in front of me. This isn't for me. Let me quit while I can. So there's different types of entrepreneurs, but you're the typical entrepreneur, Ed, that took a chance, got beat on, still came back strong, and you're still doing it today. Well, congratulations on that. That's huge.
Thank you very much. So about you, um, Queen of Business Law. That's a trademark, and I applaud that. I think that's super cool. And how did you come up with that? I'm going to guess that one night you were having a glass of wine.
It always starts with wine, doesn't it? But this one is quite different, Ed. One, I'm English, hence the English accent, and when I was I'm still practicing. When I was given this title, it was given by a client of mine. And at the time, there was a queen that was reigning in England, and now we have king. And the client said to me, they said, it's unbelievable how you zealously represent us. You, it's literally as if you're a dog on a pork chop. And I love dogs, and I have been given the name pit bull, and in fact I wear that as a badge of honor in my field of work. And it's what we do. We zealously represent our clients. And so I've always spoken about business as a chess game, and it is, right? You have to be able to make or anticipate several moves ahead of your either competitors or your environment. You are literally competing with yourself and your competitors and any external factors that potentially could pop up. So my client said to me, they said, we absolutely, it's remarkable how you represent us. We absolutely, we want to give you the title, the Queen of Business Law. And I said, why is that? One, business is it's a game of chess. That's what it is. Two, the queen is the most powerful piece on the chessboard because she can move in any direction. And three, the queen's sole duty, Ed, is to protect the king. For us, our client is the king, and the king is the most important piece on the chessboard. So that was why my clients gave me the title Queen of Business Law, and I wear it with a badge of honor.
Isn't that great? I want to ask you about the high net worth individuals that have a small business and they want to grow it. So you're talking about protection, aren't you?
Correct.
As well as, I mean, from common mistakes as well as some tricky things.
Correct. Absolutely. So being in this line of work, what I do on a daily basis, I put on my legal armor, Ed, and I go to battle for my clients on a daily basis. And what does that battle look like? It can come in any type of form. It can come in negotiations. It can come in drafting contracts. It can come in M&A, transactions, mergers and acquisitions, and it can be where even my client is either going to raise money or they have a great product that they're trying to get out there. So the protection of the business itself needs to be set from day one. Day one. If you are standing on a shaky foundation, and again, if you're building, let's go to real estate. If you're building a home on shaky ground, Ed, you're not going to have much success with that, because every time you keep building, you're going to think, is that stone going to fall? Is this stone going to fall? Or is it going to be the next one? So really, we start off with making sure that your business is protected in by having the right entity, either an S corp, C corp, LLC, whatever it's going to look like for your business and your goals. That's the very first step that we put into play, is that what does the house look like? Let's protect the house first, and then we figure out what's in the house, right? So as a high net worth individual, you have a lot to lose, as opposed to some random person coming off the street and saying, listen, I just finished school. I have no assets to my name, and I'm going to go out and run a business, right? That's fantastic for them. They can take on the liability because they have zero to lose. But with people that have, that are high net worth individuals or even businesses, they do have a lot to lose. They've accumulated quite a bit, and they will lose it in a heartbeat, just like that, if they don't protect this, because it's all about what can I get from the other person? And if you haven't secured your domain and your area and your house, then you will be losing your assets as well. So it's always about security. Make sure they're standing on a solid legal foundation before they start building, especially when you want to grow. We are far from handshake deals now, Ed, right? Remember those days where you could just do a deal with a handshake and thousands of dollars were exchanged? That doesn't work anymore. So everything has to be documented. Everything has to have a contract. Even if this individual that wants to start a business and they are a high net worth individual, I 100% highly recommend that you enter into contracts with anyone. Say if your own family, your own father was going to give you a loan for $50,000 or $100,000, that you put into a contract, because there's going to be some terms there that you have to abide by. The other thing is, when you do business with family, you always forget, not intentionally, but people forget what the terms are. So this way you can actually have a contract that brings everybody back to what the terms are supposed to be. So as you're growing and you do have assets to begin with, let's protect those assets first. Let's make sure that you're stepping out with the right legal protection. And then Let's watch you soar. Let's watch you grow.
Let's talk about your book, Go Legal Yourself.
Yes. Yes. That was it was fun, Ed, when I wrote that. I wrote that probably the first edition was back in 2017. 2017. And in that book, we specifically talk about the business legal life cycle. I believe I've coined that term. Um, I've even trademarked that term. So it's a business legal life cycle. We all have a life cycle. We're born, we grow up, we live life, and then we pass on, we expire. Something very, very similar is going to happen for your business, and people don't understand this. There's a startup phase, and in my book, I specifically write down exactly what you need to do from a legal standpoint in your startup phase. Do you need to be this entity? Do you need to be that entity? Do you need this contract? What about your terms and conditions for websites? All of that stuff. So what you need in the startup phase is all in this book. The second, so I do talk about the four phases. The second phase is the growth phase. That's always an exciting phase where you're actually growing as a business because you're bringing in more sales now. Maybe you need to hire more personnel, but the book states exactly how you should grow. And then the established phase, right? That's always fun, where you're kind of sitting on top and enjoying the ride, and you finally got there and you've got consistent sales coming in. What do you do there? You still do have to protect your assets, right? Because you're still building as money comes in. And then eventually, the most important part is the exit phase. What do you do there, right? How many ways can you actually sell a business? Multiple ways, multiple ways. How many ways can you start a business? Just one way. You start a business. So the exit phase of the business legal life cycle of your business is going to be so important because you need to plan for the exit phase today. So this book is it's been called a business bible. It really just walks you through what to expect for your business if you're in that phase. um, Double check with the book. Do you have everything? Do you need to put certain places protections in place? And then eventually, you want to start building towards where when you do sell your business, it's going to be a retirement package. So that's the type of steps, if you will, that I lay out in my book that leads to eventually running, growing, and exiting a successful business.
Um, the key word is integrity, right?
Yes.
And I'm reading notes here for the sake of the audience. What role does integrity play in your practice and interaction with clients?
It's prominent. It's 100% um, at the vanguard. Let's put it that way. That's where I keep integrity. Every single time we interact with a client, brand new client, we lay out the foundation. The relationship starts off with a trust basis. I don't have any doubt or any reason to doubt you. You have no reason to doubt me. We have a very successful um, client success rate, if you will, Ed. And I doubt that the reputation, the clients that we have served, the accolades, the testimonials that we have received, over 100 Google reviews, I think all of those stand towards integrity that we bring to the table. Because Ed, without integrity, there's no way that I could do what I do, because sometimes I have to get into the mud with my client in order for me to protect my client. So if my client isn't forthcoming, there has to be integrity, there has to be trust in order for me to do what the queen of business law's duty is, to protect the king, right? So integrity, it's huge. We don't move forward without it.
That's really interesting, and I'm very happy to hear all that.
Yes.
Okay. How do you balance your professional life as a lawyer and your personal passions, such as your work with Last Chance at Life?
Yes. I love, love, love dogs. So To iterate, I love, love, love dogs. And anything that I can do with dogs, I will do it in a heartbeat. All of our dogs are rescues, and they're just they deserve a great home. They deserve love. They deserve to be part of a family, and so that's where my personal passion lies. Eventually, within the next couple of years or so, my husband and I we will be opening a non-profit. It'll be called the Four Paws Resort. It's going to be for all the abandoned dogs that nobody wants. You know, there can be the sick dogs, there can be homeless dogs, but that's a legacy that I want to work on and leave behind, Ed. That's going to be something I'm going to be extremely proud of that. So, from a personal perspective, that's always been my focus, and we're doing that now. We rescue whenever we can. So we're doing that right now. As far as living a balanced life, I love what I do, Ed. I love practicing law. It's a passion of mine. And it just keeps getting stronger and stronger year over year over year. I've been practicing for 20 years now, 20 years, and I still love what I do. So really, when you love what you do you see it as a job? It is a job, because you know what? That time is taken away from the family, right? So it is a job, but you might as well love what you're doing. So when it comes to my husband coming home from work, he's in construction. And so our days begin really early and sometimes they end really late. And then when he comes home, Ed, I have the ability to close my doors. Say, if I'm working from the home office, I will come out of the office and I will close my doors for the evening so I can be present for my husband. That time is extremely important for any couple. You cannot sit there with one brain cell, focused on work, and then the other brain cell trying to communicate with your spouse after a long day. So I'm really, really great at compartmentalizing things. And then I'm a workaholic because I love what I do. In the evening time, if I do have to go back into the office, I've already spent time with my husband. He knows I'm going to be in the office a couple of more hours. And, that's how we balance life out. You have to bring in your spouse or your significant other. It cannot be just you, and you, because people are going to resent you. You're going to be missing parties. You're going to be missing dinner dates because you're so engrossed in work, and all of that's fantastic. But you have to be able to shut it off. Let business focus on business during that time. And then when it's personal time, really make that conscious decision and focus on the personal time. I promise you, your spouses, your significant others, they're going to love you for what you do, because it's that uninterrupted one-on-one personal time that you give to them. It's huge.
Let's talk about misconceptions that a business owner has generally about legal services.
I love that one, Ed. Initially, business owners, they think that you need to be in the millions and millions before you can even hire an attorney to talk to an attorney. Well, let me be the first one to tell everybody that that's completely wrong. That's old way of thinking. Attorneys, advice, you get what you pay for. Let me put it that way, right, Ed? You get what you pay for. You've been doing this for, over 20 years now. I've been doing this for over 20 years now. We bring some solid experience to the table. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in business, right? But here we are, still going strong. So the relationship, the mindset of an entrepreneur, they must, regardless of whatever else they do, they must have a budget for legal, and they must have a budget for a CPA, accounting. Legal and accounting, those two go hand in hand. What I besiege of entrepreneurs is do not waste money on going out there and hiring someone to do a website for you for tens and thousands of dollars. You're pissing away money. You're not there yet. You don't need an elaborate, fantastic website for someone to buy something from you, right? So hold your horses on that. You don't have the money for it. As far as marketing materials go, you don't have to spend, $500 on 10 business cards. You don't need to do any of that. So realistically, money is going to be extremely important to the entrepreneur, because this is your opening. This is your money you've budgeted to start your business. So you must start it on the right legal foundation. Spend the couple of $100 or whatever it takes to actually get a consult with a corporate attorney, not an immigration attorney, not a family law attorney, a corporate attorney. And that way, at least you know what the plan looks like. What type of entity you're going to be? What kind of contracts do you need? What kind of licenses do you need to even set up shop in any county? So all of that people forget as well. So it's extremely important nowadays. Entrepreneurs, they have to start thinking differently. They have to start thinking anyone can sue at any time. And especially, Ed, if you have a website, you can be sued from anywhere around the world where anyone can check out your website. So no, as an entrepreneur, you're not protected. You do need to put protections in place, and you need to think about money differently. So again, protection, get your products and services out there, and then start building sales.
Gosh, I'm glad we met, but I wish we had met a long time ago. So, mentorships, looking for help, and or you just run into people who turn out to be a resource. You've had many.
To be very candid with you, very candid, Ed, I have never actually had a mentor that took my hand and said, "Here, Kelly, this is how it's done." And there's a reason why, Ed, that never happened. The reason why is it's not for the lack of trying. It's not for the lack of trying to find someone and looking up to them and respecting them and want to be like them. It's not that. It was just no one actually took my hand and said, "We will teach you the ropes." What you see today, Ed, is self-made. Um, but what I can share with you is I have become a mentor to a lot of young attorneys, both male and female, and also business owners too, where they might need some just general advice. But I have actually become the mentor, and I think I had to go through my struggles so I could actually share those with others so they can prevent their heartaches and loss of money. But that's where that comes in. And I've always looked up to one of my role models, Margaret Thatcher.
Hmm.
She was known as the Iron Lady. She was the very first prime minister, female prime minister of the UK, this little teeny tiny country that took over the world at one point, right? So she'll always remain my mentor. But yes, I'm sort of self-made, Ed, and I'm actually the one that mentors other people. It truly is a joy for me to give back.
That is so cool. I want you to, as we come near a close here, and I invite you to come back and we can go deeper on other things. Bagla law is a, like a child, a baby. You needs to be fed, needs to be cared for, right? And let's just say I'm going to ask you now to give some advice to the audience out there. More
Yes.
than half of our established audience are women, and many are in some kind of a business. So how can you tell someone who isn't as fired up as you appear to be, but they want to be in business? There's a bridge to cross, isn't there?
There is. There is, Ed. Now, my advice to the want to actually be entrepreneurs, right? You're not an entrepreneur because you're not running a business. It takes a very different mindset to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to lay it out as best as I can. And if this and the person that's sitting on the fence as to whether they want to be a business owner or not, this would be fantastic advice for them. First of all, entrepreneurs are not going to work 9 to 5. Okay, so if you're a 9 to 5 person, then being an entrepreneur is not for you. We are not 9 to 5. second thing is you must get the support of your family. If you have family and you live with family, if you're married, if you've got children, bring the family in, let the family know that you want to start a business and this is what you're thinking. Let them know realistically time frames. You're not going to be working 9 to 5. It's not just 8 hours you give to your business. It's going to be the reverse now. You're going to be giving your business 20 hours and you're going to be giving your family probably 4, if not less. These are the sacrifices that have to be made, Then you're going to look at all of your assets and you're going to say, okay, if I go into business and I get sued, am I going to lose everything? Because guess what? It's not just you going into business, it's your entire family. You're taking everyone with you because those assets that belong to you, they also belong to your family. So that's a huge liability that you're going to consider is one, do I have assets? 2, are they protected before you go into business, right? Your assets need to be protected. So you don't end up losing your home because somebody sued you and they're not happy with your services. I think that's going to be the end of pretty much most relationships as well, right? So that's why it's really important to bring in your family members to let them know what you're thinking about. The other beautiful thing about being an entrepreneur is you have to actually have passion for what you want to do. If you don't have passion and someone's trying to sell you something and they don't see your passion, do you think you're going to sell them on something? Do you think they're going to say to you, oh, yes, we'll buy from you? If you're not confident in your own abilities, no one's going to be confident in your abilities. So you really have to have passion for what you do and the ability to actually communicate with other people. Ed, I've written a whole book on this. It's called Go Own Yourself. This would be a fantastic, fantastic little read for any of the people that are sitting on the fence as to whether they want to go into entrepreneurship or not. Go Own Yourself. You can get a copy of that from Amazon. You can even go to my website, baglerlaw.com, and you can get a copy from there. But I would start off by doing an assessment of all of the things that we have spoken about and really figuring out at the end of the day, is entrepreneurship for you or not? Do you have a budget for it or not? Is your family on board or not? The decision is going to be extremely clear once you go through the exercise.
Baglerlaw.com, BAGLALAW, baglerlaw.com. Um, uh, I'm looking at your LinkedIn thing here, and was founded in 2008 with the focus of business done right, which entails bringing big law firm experience, big law firm quality, small law firm accessibility to individuals and small business owners without the big law firm rates. That sounds like a winner.
It does, Ed. I thought so. Coming from a PR person, yes, I did it.
Thanks for being my guest on Global Business
Thank you so much, Ed.
TV. Please come back.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, this is Ed signing off from San Diego. I have to press the right button here. Excuse me for a minute. Okay, thank you.